I think it gave me sense of purpose, but it also gives the other guys some sense of purpose too. Some of the things that I want to do with this men's group, like I said, it's still fairly new. We're in our infant stages. We're growing. We're getting a lot more activity. And as we get more activity, I want to start doing service projects. I want to be a beacon of light in our community.
Well, welcome to Forged in Silence podcast, addressing issues men face but rarely talk about. Today we have a guest whom I met. He's local. He just lives down the road, about 15 minutes away. Not entirely a stone's throw. I don't know how many stones I could throw to eventually get there, but that's beside the point. Alec, I met Alec from a local men's face group that he started, and I joined it just to see what was going on, to see if I can meet some other guys here locally in the area. And we ended up going paddleboarding down the Colorado River for a couple, 2.5 hours together. And that was a good time. It was nice to meet and chat and float and just experience some nature and some camaraderie. So, Alec, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
And before we get too excited and start into our main topic of conversation, how are you really, Alec? It's your turn. I'm going to give it right to you. You're the guest. Why not?
Yeah.
And then you get to pick between me and Ravi.
All right, that works. Well, I am really sick today. Almost canceled on you guys. Just found out. I just took a COVID test, so that was a little surprising.
And it came back positive?
It did, yeah.
So you hiked to the top of Sneffels on the weekend. You got COVID at 14,300 and some odd feet, and then now you've come back down to earth.
Yeah, I mean, I felt fine all day. Just for anybody who's listening, this last weekend, this is kind of what I do is I adventure a lot, and so I Mount Sneffels and just outside of Ouray, Colorado, and it's a 14,000 foot peak. And I felt totally fine all day. I started about 4:30 in the morning, and I got back to my truck at about 9:30 ish, and just kind of hauled ass back down home, which is about 2.5 hours away. And as soon as I got home, I started feeling a little tickle in my nostril. Thought it was allergies. I was like, that's kind of weird. And then the next day, yesterday, I just had terrible body aches and just felt horrible. And the new version of WebMD is ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT.
Truth. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, ChatGPT told me I had COVID, so I took a COVID test, and here I am. So, I mean, other than that, it's fine. Like I'm a little sick, but it's not a big deal. As far as everything else going on, I'm doing pretty well, I would say. Work is frustrating. We got bought out by a new company, and there's a lot of changes being made. So that's just on a daily basis, a lot of frustration there, a lot of stress. But as soon as I get home, I got my dog, and kind of all those stresses just melt away. And then the weekends, I tend to try to do something with the men's group that you were talking about, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I'm doing.
How am I really? I'm excited. I'm also feeling the stress and anxiety. I just started my first semester of my second year of my public accounting diploma at CMU here locally, Colorado Mesa University. But I'm going to share this with the rest of the audience because a past version of me would have never got something like this. And I got this in the mail last night, and this is a 4.0 GPA at the university for my last semester.
Hell and yeah, man.
I got this amazing award, and this morning when I woke up, like yesterday when I got this, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face, and this morning when I woke up, I got to reflecting a little bit on the version of me that I had to let go to become the person that got a 4.0 GPA. The version of me, and like this surprises me and doesn't surprise me all at the same time. I remember the guy that would have never put enough effort into getting a grade like that. And I'm also super, super proud of the version that I am today that has the capability of doing some hard things and putting the effort in and getting something, an award like that, deserving it and earning it. It brought tears to my eyes this morning. Just a couple little ones, but it brought tears to my eyes this morning because it's not too often that I feel that sense of I am proud of me. And when I think about that, I feel a sense of pride because I know what I've put into that to achieve that. And so it excites me. I'm also nervous, anxiety. I've got anxiety about what the semester is going to bring, what the workload is going to be. I've got a part-time internship, so I've got 20 hours of my week that is going to be taken up by doing work as opposed to doing school. And that is new for this semester, and the courses get harder, they don't get easier. And so I've got that weight kind of hanging over me right now. And at the beginning of every semester, figuring out how I'm going to manage my time and where to best spend it on which class and when, it takes up a lot of my mental energy. And I'm just about to head to State Fair in Pueblo in Colorado for the rest of this week. And so I'm going to be studying and doing homework. Like, luckily it's the first week, but studying and doing homework while I'm on the road. So there's a little bit extra on top of everything else right now that's sitting outside of the excitement of I'm getting back into the routine, getting back into class, and there's a part of that I enjoy a lot too, which me 10 years ago would have never have said that either. So how we grow.
First off, I wanted to say how proud I am of you, Steve, for that accomplishment you got there. I know you worked your ass off last semester, and you deserve it. So, my microphone wasn't plugged in, and that's been this week so far, fixing broken shit, and never letting my frustration get beyond that. Don't freak out. Busy week. My daughter is going back to school, starts tomorrow, and she tried out for volleyball. She got on the volleyball team. So lots of taking her to practice, picking her up, taking her back to practice, all the beginning school stuff. And then on top of that, I got work and 2 podcasts. So here I am, and trying to train for, a 200 miler. So
when's that go? Let our audience know when that 200 miler is, Robbie.
It starts September 26th.
And you're just gonna.
It is Cowboy 200.
Okay, and where's that one? Is that in South Dakota?
It's in Nebraska.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
It's on a rails to trail, flat as a pancake, about 1,000 feet of gain and 200 miles. So we've been joking we can probably see the finish line from where we start. So for
Still
me,
200 miles. I don't care if it's flat or if it's mountain. It doesn't matter. Well, 200 miles is 200 miles, man.
So 200 miles of flat scares me more than 200 miles of gain.
Why are you worried about getting bored?
No, my style is climbing mountains, and that slows up my pace. Makes me walk, makes me hike. Can run the downhills, run the flatter sections. The problem when the course is just all flat, like your mind's telling you should be running the whole time. So you got to play the game of trying to figure out how to run, walk, because those hills won't be there to slow me down. So I can blow up really fast if I just ran, because that's not what I'm used to. Just running the whole time. So I'm used to doing some hiking and taking it easy. And yeah, this is going to be a little different race for me. It's going to be challenging.
So you got that hanging over you. That's awesome. I'm
Yep.
excited. I'm excited for you though.
Me too. It's coming. It's getting closer and closer.
We got Alec here because when him and I hung out, I was curious about why he started the men's group here locally, and I really liked his honesty, and I really liked the self-reflection that he had for his why. And I think when he starts sharing why he started it, what it's about for him, what it means to him, it's going to generate some pretty cool conversation, and maybe it might inspire someone out there to look around locally for them too, for a men's group, or to try and connect. So Alec, go for it. I'm handing it all over to you.
All right. Well, yeah, I started the men's group here in Colorado a few months ago. It was probably about 5-6 months ago. And the reason why is because last year at work, my boss had sent me the suicide report for the town that we live in, the county. And the last one that they did was 2022. And I started looking at it, and I was kind of surprised to see the demographics. I honestly thought that I was going to see, and this is not in any way, shape, or form discrimination, but I thought that I was going to see a lot more LGBTQ people in that suicide report. There wasn't. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. There just wasn't. And what I found was that the majority, and I think this is kind of nationwide, not just the community that we live in, what it is about 4 out of 5 suicides in our town are men, and they're in our demographic. And I work with guys in our demographic, blue collar type guys. And the industry that I guess the profession that I'm in, I'll just come right out and say it. I'm a safety professional for an oil and gas company. And so, I mean, safety, I would say that's part of it, keeping guys safe. And taking a look at that suicide report, it kind of hit me hard. And then my boss wanted herself and me to go through a mental health first aider course. That way, in case there's anybody at work that needed some extra assistance, then we'd be able to do it. Part of my job, believe it or not, is kind of a therapist. We tend to get a lot of guys that come in and they just tend to trust us. And I think that's because of the relationships that we build. We don't judge them. We don't turn them away. We don't, wrap them out for anything that they're doing that they may not, maybe they weren't supposed to be doing. And so a lot of guys will come over and talk to us, and sometimes it turns personal, and they talk to us about their personal lives. Then I started looking on, I frequent, now this might be a bad thing, I frequent Reddit. And on the Grand Junction subreddit, I kept seeing all these posts over and over and over. Guys that are like, hey, I just moved to town. Where do you meet friends? And it's something that I've noticed, like, after high school, after college, where do adults make friends? And it's almost impossible. We just don't have enough. We don't have any third places. And then there's the stigma with men not wanting to, I guess, show their feelings and their emotions. And so, it's hard for men to be like, hey, do you want to go do something? Do you want to go grab a beer? Do you want to, go float the river? Do you want to, it's hard for men to do that because they don't want to be perceived as, whatever, needy, gay, I don't know.
Like a wuss, whatever it is,
yeah.
right? Like I had a buddy reach out, not here locally, but I did have a buddy reach out, and he was like, hey, do you mind, can you come over? And we can just go for a walk. He wanted to chat. He wanted to get something off of his chest, and he wanted to, He didn't want any advice. He didn't want anything like that. He just wanted to not sit with his own stuff alone, is what he wanted to do. And he decided to reach out instead of just sit with his own stuff alone anymore. And when he wanted a second opinion or a thought or whatever it was, then he asked for it. But I thought it was really cool and really brave of him to just ask for that. Here's this need. It's kind of like what you're doing. Sorry to cut you off, but
No, that's great.
uh,
Yeah, no,
that's what you're talking about.
for sure. Yeah, it's something that guys just don't do. And I don't know if we were just raised to try to be badasses or something. I don't know why that would make us badass to not reach out for help or for friendship or anything like that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't think it is, but you know,
Well,
yeah.
Nope.
I think now, if you don't reach out to other men, you're not a badass.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm feeling the exact same way now. And it's especially hard for me too, because I'm a little bit of an introvert. I can turn it on and off when I need to. My job, I have to be somewhat extroverted. But there are days, man, I just don't want to talk to anybody. It's hard for me to do it. So this was kind of a difficult thing for me to do. But anyway, kind of getting back to what I was saying, I was seeing all these posts on Reddit. All these guys were like, "Hey, where do you guys meet friends?" Like, I have no idea where to go. And I had been thinking for a while, like, man, it'd be cool if we had like a men's group or something. It'd be cool if we had a men's mental health group. And I was actually going to therapy to this local psychologist who he had a group, men's group that he would do sessions with. And I was doing that for a little while. And when I was going to that guy, I didn't really think that there was anything really wrong going on in my life. Everything was kind of fine. And I told him, I just want to optimize. I want to be the best version of myself for the future. And so we were kind of talking about all those kind of things. And like I said, he invited me to go to the men's group, and I started doing that. And he just had this piece of property just outside of town, sit around a campfire, and we just chat for 90 minutes. And he would kind of guide the conversation when needed. And most of the time we just start telling each other what's going on in our lives, and kind of give each other advice. And like, it was cool. I really dug it. And I was like, man, I don't think you really need a therapist to do something like that. And so I swear I'm going to tie this all in together.
No, that's great.
Yeah. So one day I saw one of those posts on Reddit, and I made a comment. I was like, hey, I was kind of thinking of maybe starting a men's group, just here locally in town or whatever. If anybody's interested, let me know. And I had just an overwhelming response of people that responded. And like I said, this is a local subreddit. So I had, between just regular dudes that wanted to join, and I had a couple of therapists that wanted to meet up with me and see. I think they just kind of wanted to check out my vibe, just to make sure that I'm not a crazy person, or somebody that they don't want to send their clients to. So when I first got it started, it was pretty slow going. And I'm not going to say that it's like a jet rocket right now, but it's definitely picking up steam at this point. Like I said, it's only been 5 or 6 months. But at first, I had a lot of guys that joined. We started out with a Facebook group. I created a Discord, because I know not everybody's on Facebook. And I'm always trying to find other avenues for communication and creating events and things like that. That's the thing, is not a lot of people use Facebook, but it's got a really good platform for creating events for other people, or for stuff like that.
Yeah, it does.
So, I just started putting on there like, hey, I'm going hiking this weekend. Anybody who wants to join, like, feel free to show up. And at first the group was called, Men's Mental Health Group. And, after a while, one of the guys that had been going to some of the hikes with me, he's like, maybe we ought to change it to just men's group, because I kind of wonder if the mental health thing is turning people off, and they don't, there's that stigma with men's mental health.
The stigmatism of a mental health group instead of just a men's group, which is essentially
social group.
Yeah, which that's what we need.
Yeah.
Right? Is the connection piece. Just to get together, do things.
Yeah, and I think it serves the exact same purpose. I think with the name mental health in the title, it probably got people thinking, oh, this is going to be some kumbaya shit. We're going to be sitting around a campfire talking about our feelings, and I don't want to do that, or I just don't feel. Maybe I do want to do that, but I just don't feel comfortable because I don't even know any of these guys. So we didn't really get a whole lot of reception to it at the beginning. A couple of guys that would go fairly regularly. We had a barbecue. We had a couple hikes and things like that. And one of the guys I actually go backpacking with fairly regularly now. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of just how it started and where we're at right now.
I mean, that's how I found you. Was just I looked up. I mean, I got a men's mental health podcast, so I thought, what do we have here in this area that would support me, right? Like, what could I go and do? Where could I go and meet some guys? Where could I go and just hang out and get some camaraderie? Find some dudes that help make me better too. Share bits of life, and so I found your group, and then finally went to an event after life slowed down. Man, it took me a little bit, but it was definitely nice to get out and share the river with a new friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's cool. You know, like I said, it's gotten me out of my comfort zone with stuff like that. One of the cool things that I've kind of, I don't know, forced myself to do, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because of that stigma that you know, I don't want to be perceived as being less manly or something. Is reaching out to some of the members just one on one. This last week, I just kind of sent out a message to a few guys and was just like, "Hey, man, hope your week's going well." Something I hadn't done before. I know at least one guy. He's not on this podcast right now, but at least one guy who's been kind of struggling. And you know, I just wanted to make sure that everything is okay with some of these guys. I just don't think that men do that enough. You know, talk about their feelings and ask how they're doing and just random check-ins. I've never had that. And so, you know, it's been kind of nice. You know, Steve has checked in with me a couple times already. You know, it's not my group, it's our group. I've told all these guys, you know, create your own events if you want. You know, I'm not going to go to all of them. I'm not able to, but I'm going to create events. You know, when I do stuff anyway, you know, I'm going to create those events. And if somebody goes, great. If nobody goes, that's fine too. But it's definitely something that I can see a positive change already with some of the guys. And I think that it's a necessity in our communities is to have some way for men to be able to connect with each other. You know, like I said, having the title mental health in the name of the group, maybe it pushed some people away. So I just made a post on Facebook. I was like, hey, look, you know, we're going to change the name to just men's group. You know, I don't want anybody thinking that they're excluded or anything like that. You know, we'll talk about stuff if you want to, and if not, that's fine too. If you just want to go to events, and let's do it.
How many of the members in this group would you say are married or single or divorced or anything like that?
Well, we've only had probably about 5-6 guys that showed up to events, and there's 34 on Facebook, I think, and there's probably 5 or 10 on Discord. And I know there's some overlap between, like, some of the guys are on both Facebook and Discord. The ones that I know personally, a good majority of them are married. A couple of them had kids, but then there were some single guys too. Single, no kids.
Isn't that you?
That is me. I'm single, no kids.
There you go, Robbie. I found one.
The reason I asked that question is kind of on this journey that, you know, Steve and I have taken with talking to men. A lot of times we find men that are single or had a bad breakup or going through some stuff that they finally say enough's enough and reach out to us and want to talk. I was just wondering if that's the same in that men's group, because I know when you're single and you don't have those events with a girlfriend or a wife or kids or stuff like that, that it can be very lonely just because you're just all inside your head all the time. So my thought goes to a lot of times when I hear about men's group, I just wonder what the percentage of that is the case. Me being single with a daughter, I put my daughter first. So a lot of the stuff is, geared towards my daughter. And really, when I go to a lot of events, there's not a lot of fathers there. There's mostly mothers there. Some of them will talk, some of them won't. I don't try to strike up conversation because kind of where we're at with society and women, of a lot of men are just creepers and stuff like that. So I'm there to support my daughter. I'm not there to make a scene. So I just find it very interesting where we know the numbers now. Men are killing themselves at an all-time rate. A lot of them are single, military, stuff like that. I kind of see where the lines are kind of going with single men that don't have anything, and for the need for them to reach out. I know it's super hard and it takes courage, but we're here. I just want to say that again. We always say that, but we're here. Just if you're struggling, we're here. Just reach out.
I think that's a message we're going to continue to it's like, it's a drum we're going to beat to this whole time on this podcast is to reach out, get connected, get outside. The thought that comes to my mind, like, it's really hard to make friends when you're sitting on the couch. It's just really hard. It's great to make plans. It's a great place to make plans, but it's really hard to make friends when you're sitting on the couch. And my own personal example of that is, even after moving here, I haven't really gotten connected to people until I started going to things and meeting people and shaking hands, regardless of how awkward it's going to feel, how out of place I might be telling myself I'm going to be. I'm the stories I could tell myself can range from I'm not going to fit in to I'm already freaking awkward, so why would I want to go and make myself more uncomfortable? You and I had this conversation when we were standing there pumping our boards, right? Like, neither of us know each other from the hole in the ground, and then you meet me in a parking lot and I hop in your truck and we say hi, right? And you got to figure it out one way or another. And we're sitting there chatting and having a good time, getting to know each other. And I really liked the way we did that, because we didn't just talk about like what you did for work. We actually asked each other questions about like who we were about and what we did and why we did those things. And so I really appreciated your approach, because I imagine that's how you approach all the other guys too. Like, you have a sense of curiosity about you that works really well for what you're trying to achieve here. And I appreciated that. I appreciated the welcome. And when you told me that you were an introvert, like, bullshit. I like my silence too, dude. I like my silence, and there's sometimes I just need to be away from all of the people. I call it peopling. I've had enough peopling for a while, and I could just sit in a dark room, in a fairly dark room, just chill with myself. It's a wonderful thing. I know
pretty dark in here.
It's pretty dark in there.
I got all the windows open. I don't know why it's so dark.
Must be the angle. I got a light. I got lights on so I can be all bright and shiny and things.
Yeah.
It's the podcaster in me. I just have to be shiny. Is that how that, whatever. It sounded horrible. It sounded horrible.
One thing I want to do, I meant to bring this up before. I was thinking about Steve kind of re-brought it to my mind. You guys just met at a parking lot, pumping your paddleboards, jumped together, rode away. I really like what you're doing here with this, Alec, because I know for me, like if we have something in common, like my run groups I used to go to, or, you know, mountain bike groups or hiking, like you meet on the internet and you say, we're going to go for a run. We'll meet here. You have something in common with that person instantly. And, you know, I've jumped into cars with women, women's jumped into cars with me, don't know them at all, but we have that one thing in common. And that one thing in common leads to a whole bunch of bullshit talk.
Mhm.
There is no life there. It's all about what we share in common. What running shoes do you wear? Like how many 14ers have you hiked? All that stuff, right? Where I'm gravitating now is what you're doing, Alex. Like meet up with men and just start talking about man stuff. That sounds a little weird, but just talk about life. We are men, so it's men stuff. But like superficial conversations, just I can't do them anymore. And you know, we have a saying in the retail world that I can work at is people fatigue, public fatigue. Like you have, how are you doing all day long and none of it's real? Then you get home and you do not want to say a word to anyone because you have given your whole self away to nothing back. And I really think having these conversations is getting something back and filling your cup full, because I'm really good at dumping my cup out and not filling it up. But that just kind of sparked my mind too, is it's good to have those common connections with those groups. But I think, you know, like you said, Steve, and like stepping outside and really getting uncomfortable is what we need in this world.
Yeah, for sure. I think when I created the group, it kind of started out more for me than it was for the other guys. And I know that sounds selfish, but I mean, I was exactly what you guys were talking about. You know, I've dated way an embarrassing amount. Like it's got to that point. And you know, every time I break up with someone or they break up with me or whatever, I've kind of gotten numb to it at this point. It just doesn't even matter to me. In fact, the last person that I was kind of hanging out with told her, you know, I always feel like there's an expiration date, and that's why it never works. And so as I drive a lot for work, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I try to listen to stuff that betters me as a person, makes me smarter or whatever. I felt like I didn't do too well in high school. I never went to college. And so as an adult, I'm like, oh man, I'm a dumbass. I should probably learn some stuff. And so I listened to podcasts, you know, Andrew Huberman, and I used to listen to some Joe Rogan, what's his name, like David Goggins and stuff like that. Try to better myself as a person. You know, I don't agree with everything that all those guys say, but you know, I always try to take the best out of it. But I remember, I think it was Andrew Huberman was talking about how about blue zones. Or no, I apologize. And Steve and I, we talked about this. It was Peter Attia. He wrote the book Outlive. He's a doctor. He's basically just trying to figure out cracking the code to centenarians, not just living to 100 years old, but also to live just the most, you know, the best life. He calls it health span, the best life that you possibly can for as long as possible. And one of the things that he was talking about is that, you know, as they've done studies on centenarians, one of the things that they found is that a lot of them live in what they call blue zones. And blue zones are areas where there's a lot of people that live over 100 years old. And some of the things that they have in common in those areas is climate, you know, the diet that they eat. And then one of the biggest things is their sense of community. And I was just like, man, I don't have a sense of community. I have family here, but our family is just not that close. And I don't know what it is. We never have been. And, so I was like, man, I probably, and another one of the things was a sense of purpose as well. and so I was like, man, I should probably have a community, and I should probably get a sense of purpose, something, because like I said, I'm single. I don't have kids. Most people can find purpose in life with their kids. And so for some people that's not enough. But for a lot of people it is. And, for me, and I've actually made the choice to not ever have kids. That was just a choice that I made. I kind of got to a certain point in my life where I don't want to say it was too late, but, I didn't want to start at that point, and I didn't want to have kids with just any random person. I see the nightmares that men go through with that. I mean, that contributes to poor mental health. I enjoy the life that I live. Um, but then it was just like, well, yeah, that can be a little bit selfish, if I'm not serving anybody but myself. I've got this awesome dog that's here with me right now, and I serve her on a daily basis, but she's not going to be here forever. So one thing that I did earlier this year too is I started to volunteer at our local dog shelter or animal shelter, which unfortunately I just don't think I have enough time to continue doing. So that's probably going to the wayside. Um, but shortly after that is when I created the men's group as well, and that, I think, it gave me sense of purpose, but it also gives the other guys some sense of purpose too. Some of the things that I want to do with this men's group, like I said, it's still fairly new. We're in our infant stages. We're growing. We're getting a lot more activity. Excuse me. And as we, get more activity, I want to start doing service projects. I want to be a beacon of light in our community. Going and just cleaning up trash on the side of the road, or doing some trail cleanup, or whatever. Another guy that I follow too is Richard Reeves and Scott Galloway. Richard Reeves wrote the book, of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling and What We Can Do About It. Excellent book for anybody who's interested in that kind of thing. One thing that he talks a lot about, one thing that Scott Galloway does is, they talk about, like kind of like Big Brother type programs, mentoring younger boys. That's another thing that I want to start getting into, not just myself, but also as the group. Maybe we can start expanding more than just going out and hiking and paddle boarding and things like that. So that's kind of, the direction that I'm hoping that we can go with this group. And if the group doesn't go that way, then I will, either way. So that's kind of where I'm at on it.
It's been neat. Like you have a vision for what the need is, and I think it fulfills a need for you too. That's what I'm hearing from you. Like you definitely have maybe it's not a need, maybe it's a desire. It could be both. Probably is. Desire to help, need to connect. And I think you said it there, was that having that sense of community. You recognized, and this is where I say, when I said early on at the beginning of the episode, you recognized your self-awareness was, when we talked, was something that I noticed. You recognized you had a need. You decided that you would do something about it. So many of us get stuck. I've been there. I've gotten stuck. Recognized that I had a need and I just didn't do anything about it. Right? So then all I do is sit there stuck with a need. And generally speaking, if I am stuck with a need and I'm not doing anything about it, there's a good chance that I'm building resentment towards someone else, because that's what I'm doing, is I'm likely blaming either the fact that I don't have time because of this, and this. It all depends. And I said this last night, at a recovery meeting, was my actions tell me how important things are. Plain and simple. I could tell you that me being a part of the men's group is important to me, and me being involved in it is important to me. But if I don't show up to anything and I don't plan anything, that's word salad. It means nothing. It sounds great. The idea sounds fantastic, but if I'm not going to actually do something to pull it off and to make it happen, or show that those words match my intent, it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's not. What good is my word if I was to tell you that and not show up and not try?
One of the things, I was listening to Scott Galloway the last couple of days. He's got a series right now. I think it's called Lost Boys with Anthony Scaramucci.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly what the quote is, but they said something about how anxiety is cured by action. And that one hit me hard. I don't have really bad anxiety, but I do get bouts of anxiety. Sometimes just thinking about going out and doing something in public gives me anxiety. And I have a feeling that that's a lot of these guys. Anxiety seems to be very prevalent in our society today, more than it ever was. Maybe we just recognize it. Maybe we just throw the term around. I don't know. I mean, there was one guy that he's not on any of the platforms, and just gave me his number and asked me to text him whenever we do stuff, and has not shown up to anything, unfortunately. And it tells me that he's just got really, really severe anxiety. And it's just like, man, you gotta just take that leap.
I think it's really hard to go and throw yourself out there like that after you haven't done that, say for 10 years. For 10 years, you've said yes to this small group of people that you have in your life, and all of a sudden you recognize that you just feel alone. But you haven't really put yourself out there. So you're going to go out and meet someone that you don't know, and you haven't done that in a really long time. Of course, it's going to feel a lot more difficult than what it actually is. It just is. It's just like anything else. Sure, if you stop riding a bike for 15 years, when you get back on the bike, you're not going to be able to ride it without any hands on. You're just not. The balance won't be there. You're not going to have that groove until you get back into it. It takes a while. And it's like we are so out of practice at connecting with other human beings. This is like why we're here and why we're talking about this. Is I feel like, anyways, we're so out of practice being connected with other human beings that when we start to get in front of another human being that isn't on the other side of one of these, because this is a great protection mechanism. This is a fantastic piece of machinery that allows you to not be seen but still feel connected. And when we don't allow ourselves to be seen, and this comes from my own personal experience, it's fucking lonely. It is absolutely lonely. And I know there's dudes out there that feel that loneliness. Whether you're single, you're married, or you have kids, you have these things. To find the purpose, to find the sense of community is not easy when we're out of practice. And what I hope having you on here today might shed some light on for someone to say, hey, maybe I should just look this up and give this a try. I mean, not everyone is for everyone. This is true. But we can put some of our differences aside and get to know who is on the other side of this thing in person.
Yeah, I see that not everybody in our group is going to click and connect. Mm-hmm. What I hope for is that some people do. A couple guys here and a couple guys there. We'll find the common ground with, like I said, I'm big with hiking and outdoor stuff, camping and stuff like that. So the guys that want to do that, maybe they already do it. Maybe they have interest in starting it.
Curiosity.
I'll teach them how to do it.
That a try. Yeah,
exactly. There's that. Some of the guys had, mentioned that they wanted to maybe do some baseball, like the local leagues or whatever, adult leagues. Some of the guys are gamers. I don't play games at all, but they want to get on and play games. Somebody that's local.
Yep.
Another guy on Discord, he said, "Hey, Wednesday, I'm going hiking. Whoever wants to go with me, let me know. Afterwards, I'm going to grab a beer. Like, let's go."
Mhm.
And
I saw that.
Yeah, one or two guys. I think at least one guy said that they were going to be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't be there. I don't need to be though.
No.
That's the point of this group, is to bring these guys together, with just some way, somehow, get them out of their house, get them out of their shell. That you sit in your house all day and depression just creeps up on you. It's just like a blanket, and you don't want to move. And the longer you're there, the longer you want to stay there. And you keep thinking, oh, I should get up. I should go. I should get outside. I should go hit up one of my friends or something. And it's, scrolling TikTok is fine. I can just do social media instead. And, like you said, we can hide behind those screens. And as much good as social media can be, the potential that it has, I think it's a net negative, honestly. And it has created a world of loneliness. Another thing that Scott Galloway says is that we have created a society of, asexual and asocial males. More or less men are having sex at younger ages.
Yep.
A lot of them aren't having sex until they're in their 30s.
Yep.
The longer you go without having sex, the harder it is. You lose those social skills. If you're in your mid-20s, you've already graduated high school. Now, where are you going to meet people?
The stat that blows my mind, and I really can't wait to have someone on this podcast and talk about porn and what it's done to generally men, but what it, maybe not what it's done, but what it does to us. I think that's a better way to describe that. But I mean, the statistic that blows my mind the most is the age range that has the largest percentage of erectile dysfunction is ages 20 to 30. And that is straight up from porn use.
That is crazy.
It is crazy.
That is the time of your life that you should have the highest testosterone.
Yep.
And these younger guys, they don't have it.
I mean, I think testosterone levels in men overall have dropped almost 50%, especially in the younger age group. I know and I think that affects overall mental health too. Like
absolutely.
We have testosterone, and I'd like to actually personally do some more just reading about this, because I really don't know a whole heck of a lot. And I've been invited to go to one of these men's places here in town to talk to a couple of the guys. Might actually get one of them on the podcast too. But one of the guys that owns, I think it's Game something in town. But anyways, and there's the testosterone replacement you can get that helps boost you up. And I know we had a guy on this podcast who goes and does that. And
yeah, I watched that episode. It was interesting stuff that he was talking about, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd love to learn more. I have a lot of questions, because anytime for me, when I start thinking about what, like, replacing one of the things that my body is supposed to be producing, the first thought that comes to my mind is, if I start replacing it, is my body going to start producing less of it? Because that's the last thing I want to do, is get stuck having to take this just to feel good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't take a damn thing. I don't take a pill. I don't take any supplements. I don't take anything. Doesn't mean I probably shouldn't look into at least some supplements, but I don't. I feel pretty great overall especially when I change my diet and I eat a lot cleaner, and I've taken sugar right out of it. Robbie and I have been on this since, what are we on, week 3 now?
Yep. 19
We're on
days.
week 3 with taken processed sugar straight out of our diets. And the first week is hell. The second week is a little bit ignorant, but the third week it starts straightening back out. And I'll tell you right now that my mental clarity and my energy level now is way more consistent than it was last month at this time, when I was eating basically whatever I wanted. It just makes, like, cutting out carbs and crap processed foods, as much as it brings inconvenience, because it does, it makes a world of a freaking difference.
It does. It really does. That's actually something that I've always had health on the top of my mind. I've not always been extremely healthy. I mean, I could certainly do better myself right now, but I mean, I quit eating fast food probably at least 10 years ago. I quit drinking sodas 10 years ago. I foolishly was drinking energy drinks, so I didn't consider that soda, but I don't drink those anymore. I quit drinking alcohol about a year and a half ago, almost now. And that was strictly just because I was tired of waking up hungover on the weekends, and I wanted to get up early and go hiking and do cool shit. Um, a few years ago, I went to a doctor because I was constantly tired and lethargic, and I didn't know what was going on. I actually, my normal doctor, she was no help at all as far as that goes. And then I went to another doctor. He ran a whole bunch of tests, and he figured out that I had a hypothyroid. So I am on a pill for that. And that is something that I will have to be on for the rest of my life. It's not a huge deal, whatever. Just first thing in the morning, I pop a pill, and that has helped me out a ton. But then he also did check my testosterone levels, and they were low. At the time, I was in a relationship, and I was very unhappy. She was pretty abusive, and I actually think that that's probably one of the reasons that I'm still single today. I've tried dating quite a few times since then, and kind of fucked me up, but that's beside the point. So with the testosterone, I was low, and the doctor was almost pushing me to get on some HGH, and I was just like, man, I've heard that if you start, then you can't stop, and I don't just like you, Steve. I don't want to do that. It kind of sounds like that's not necessarily true nowadays, especially if you're on low doses. But I was like, I know that it's possible to bring your levels up naturally, depending on your lifestyle. So I was like, let me just give it a shot. Let me give it a couple of months. I'm going to make some life changes, start eating better, start exercising more. And man, my testosterone skyrocketed. And that's one of the best things that you can do for your mental health is exercise, eating good. I mean, you're going to feel good. You're going to look better. If you look in the mirror and you say, I wouldn't fuck that. I mean, why would a girl want to fuck you too? If you look in the mirror,
I
and
mean,
you're like,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, like I can see a little bit of muscle. I'm losing a little bit of fat. I'm looking better. Like, I'd fuck that.
Yep.
You're like, I'd take you home.
Yeah. So, I mean, you start making those changes, and it makes a world of difference in your life. Start going to men's groups, start hanging out with dudes. I mean, it's not, here's the thing with that though, is you can't just pick any random guy, just any guy that's willing to hang out with you, because there might be some dude at work that you're hanging out with, and he is just a piece of shit. And I hate to say it like that, but I mean, I know some guys that are just bad people, and they're not going to help out with your mental health. Like, yeah, for the time, it's going to
Not
help.
everybody has your best interest
Exactly
in mind, and it's really easy. I'm going to talk about myself again, because I consider I'm kind of a gullible person. I have that kind of thing about me, and it's one of the things I don't want to change, actually, because it helps keep me curious at the same time. So I struggle with it, but I'm kind of a gullible person, so it's easy. It's easy-ish to kind of take advantage of me. It's also easy-ish for me to take a liking to whomever. And so it's one of the things that I've learned is not everyone has the best interest, because I want good for you. So because I want good for you in my own mind, you must want the same for me. That's the story I tell myself. And that's not true. As much as we all want that, and I still believe people are good, but we all have our own shit. We all carry our own baggage. We all blah, 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 blah. Right? And so, I mean, not everyone is going to want the best for you like you want them to want for you. And to find the guys, and I think this is the reason why you start the men group, or this is one of the reasons why I came to the event that you put on, to find the guys that are willing and want to see me be a better me. I'm going to give that to you in return. I want to see you succeed. But we need to find out if we're going to mesh. We need to find out if your iron is going to help sharpen mine, and if mine is going to help sharpen yours. Right? To see what it is. We're not all going to align. It's not all going to happen. We're going to find the things that we have in common. We're going to find the things that we don't like about each other. It's all there, but it's a matter of getting out and doing. It just is. And it's not, it means getting your butt off the couch and out, and get out there and play. Play is so good for us. It creates laughter. You get your endorphins going. You get ripping, running around. Like, I don't care if you're 43 years old and you're slow as molasses. Get doing something fun. Like, even when I was chasing the kids around when they were down here, once you get your heart rate up, it feels good.
Absolutely. Get sweating. Do something uncomfortable. Because when you get uncomfortable, it's going to make the comfortable stuff feel really good.
It does. Ain't that the truth?
And it makes you stronger. When you do, there was another thing that Andrew Huberman said. There's a part of our brain, I can't remember what it is now, that when you do things that are really hard that you don't want to do, it makes you stronger, mentally stronger all over. And he mentioned that in the episode where he had David Goggins on. Like, David Goggins needs to know about that. Like,
he's a freaking walking example of just doing hard shit just for fun,
just to do it.
Yeah.
For no reason at all. And I mean, that's kind of what got me back into fitness. You know, I was doing it a while back, and then I got out of it, and you know, I started listening to some of those podcasts, and I was just like, I gotta do it. And that's
you gotta stop being lazy. That's what you're saying? You gotta
stop being lazy.
Yep.
You got to do it. And for me, it's the hardest part about it is to create a routine and sticking to it, and really try not to let anything get in the way of your routine, but also give yourself some grace when something does get in the way. You know, occasionally I'll get off work late, and my first priority as soon as I get home from work is I got to walk my dog. She's been in the house all day. She's got to go outside. That's it. And if I can't get her 2 miles before it's time for me to, you know, go to the gym, then I'm just going to skip the gym.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to, that's my priority. But my routine is, I mean, I'm strict about it. And I think a lot of people get kind of annoyed with me because it's just like, nope, got to go home, got to walk my dog, got to go to the gym. That's it. That's all I do.
Discipline. It's hard to do. Discipline versus people pleasing. It's all part of the which promises are you going to decide to keep to yourself today?
Yep.
Robbie, do you got anything else to finish this off?
I've just been sitting here listening to you guys talk. I got a few things, and it's talking about, you know, the whole porn thing, the testosterone. I was thinking back to when I always go back to this because it's easy for me to think about and digest. You know, when we were living in tribes, it took the whole tribe to survive. And with that came connection, community, discipline, routines, all the stuff that we've been talking about, right? Just to
Accountability.
just to survive, right? Just to wake up every day. That's it. Plain and simple. That's what they had to do. The accountability is huge, right? Got to count on the person getting water, the hunter. That was driven so deep into those people that if someone couldn't hold their job or their duty, what happened to them? They either got kicked out of the tribe or, they got forced to do it, right? Whether they like it or not, or sometimes they found something else for that person to do. Now, this day and age, young boys and girls go to school. They're forced that connection. And what I mean by forced connection, they're forced to go to school. So they're forced to find comfort in their classmates, right? A lot of times kids don't want to go to school. So they find other classmates that they feel comfortable with. Then they build those relationships, good or bad. You see that with when they get into high school and they get into sports, there's routine, discipline, that same thing. You see the ones that go into sports, you see the ones that don't go into sports. Go to college, you get out of college. Or if you don't go to college, then what do you do with your life? If you go find a job, you're making money, everything's good. You may have a girlfriend, you may get married, you may have kids, so on and so on. But what I see now with a lot of these young men is they get on these screens and they can find that dopamine hit, second after second after second. Same with the girls. We won't leave them out, but with the men, because it's more of the problem. Dopamine after dopamine. They do not have to leave the basement. They can order their food. They can play their games. They can have their girlfriends that are behind a screen that act like they like them. Then they can have their sex, right? All in the comfort of their basement or their bedroom, whatever. They're not forced to go outside. And especially if these people are working from home. COVID didn't do us any good with forcing people to work from home. And now we can see some of the effects of people that, had to work from home, and now look where they're at. Well, some of them men and women are in bad shape just because they've lost their community, their connection, and they get their dopamine hits from their screens. Then the testosterone part, the food we eat, the inactive part of that, all those things come down to then with what we know with testosterone and self-worth, what it does to young men. And when we get to middle age, it really affects us then, because it's like, what did we do with our life? Here we are in this midlife crisis. I suck at everything. I'm a bad person, whatever. I have none of this. I have no friends. And as you guys were talking, I was like just putting the story together of kind of how we've come here. But for me, the cool part is, how do we get out of here? And Alec, what you've done and created this men group is an outlet, but it takes that person to take an action. And I remember, when I was growing up, it was that term, actions are always louder than words. And I know the three of us can tell ourselves stories that are the best goddamn stories ever and make us feel good about ourselves. And we can wake up and do that every single day. Wake up, I'm going to go to the gym. Don't go to the gym that day. It's okay. Tomorrow, right? We can do this. And then now it's really coming down to is doing that action. Whatever you say that you want to do or feel the need to do, you have to go out and do that action. And it's really probably uncomfortable now, is, you guys were talking when you get into your 40s and 50s, then I haven't done this in years. I'm out of practice. It's been 30 years and I have not met anyone new because I don't do whatever. I meet coworkers or the delivery driver that comes, whatever, right? And I really want to hammer home, man, it takes action. I know the three of us are not here today without taking some kind of action. And we continue to take action every day in our daily lives. I can look back at the old me, and sure, I was doing stuff, but I wasn't taking the actions to become a better man. become a better father. My actions I was taking were selfless or selfish stuff that I thought society needed to make, that I needed to make myself better. Money, stature, power, all those things that not having a father, I thought I needed to be a man. And now that I know that I don't need any of those to be a man, to sit here with two other men and be vulnerable, talk about stuff, that's the action. And when we had the ladies on, we talked a little bit about purpose, and something I've always struggled with purpose. And now I just let purpose comes, and it comes and goes. And my purpose might be one thing one day, and then it might be a different thing the next day. But you know what? It's always there. I always have something there that I can wake up to and find some kind of purpose to lead me through the day. I know when I really struggle, I have no purpose. Everything, like you were saying, Alec, that blanket's so goddamn heavy, I can't even get it off my head. Let alone pull it off to get out of the bed. And it's the courage, all the stuff we talk about. I know it's so hard, and I just want men out there to wake up and take one little teeny action, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just one little action, and start building on some of those. And if you can find a men's group, get out there and physically be out there. Don't hide behind your screen. Get out there. If you need to talk it out a little bit behind your screen, cool. The one thing I want to do as men too is call those people out. Be like, just come out, hang out, spend 15 minutes here. Shake my hand, look me in the eye, whatever. I think we're at a point in time we need to make a difference as men and hold each other up, pull each other out, and it's just going to take action. That's just what keeps in the back of my head is action. And
I just get the feeling like the longer we go, I know everything takes time and money and effort. And as we continue on, those things continue to come at a premium because just the pressures of the world we live in right now. I get it. It doesn't change unless we do something about it. So that's why we're here. Alec, I want to say thanks for coming here and sharing your experience and why you started a men's group and how it started out as a personal need as opposed to, wanting to give back. You were giving back to yourself, and now you've turned it into something that meets a need and also gives back. And I really enjoyed my experience with you. I hope, and I know I get to see more events, just like you said. That guy said, "I'm going to go for a hike." Blah blah blah. That's how you do it. That's how I want to go and do this thing. Go and do the thing. If no one shows up, no one shows up. That's great. You still get to do the thing, and then eventually consistency has always paid off so far in my life. At least this past 4.5 years, being consistent plays a huge part in people showing up and trusting you. So keep doing what you're doing, Alec. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again and spending some more time in person. I thought we got along great. So I look forward to sharing some more time and some more awesome conversations. I feel like you and I could chat for a good long time. So thank you.
Yeah, I got there's so many things that are bouncing around in my head. We could talk for hours, I'm sure. But the one thing that I want to kind of end on is kind of a call to action for men out there. If you don't have a men's group in your area, maybe create one. I did not expect to be the one to create it. I'm not that guy. There's nothing special about me whatsoever. I've got a past. I've got a history. I'm not perfect. None of us are. But I am trying to be the best man that I can be today. And I want to be an example to other men, and I want to show them what life could be like. I mean, obviously, single, no kids, that's not what every man wants, but hopefully my happiness can be that beacon to other men, or at least a shoulder to cry on. And like I said, if you don't have any kind of a men's group in your area, man, ours just started because I saw a need, and I was just like, screw it, let's just do it. Let's just create it and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Nobody shows up to anything and you shut it down. Not a big deal. And then you're back to where you were at the beginning. So at least give it a shot. And if you already got something in your area, give that a shot. Might find some cool people. You might not. Maybe, if you're in a highly densely populated area, there might be multiple groups. So maybe check out a couple of them. That's what I'd encourage people to do.
Robbie, I don't even need to end this episode. He just did.
He did. Yep.
He just ended it. I'm not even going to bother. Reach out, start a group if that's something that you even need. Try. I think it's great. Look forward to bringing all of our audience some more guests. I'm still going to try and find someone to come on and talk about porn, because I think it is a taboo topic that we need to bring and shed some light on. So I'm going to make that a higher priority on my list coming up here, Robbie, and we'll see what we can do. But Alec, it was awesome having you on. Thank you for everything that you shared. And to our guests, thank you. Subscribe, hit the like button, leave comments, do all that stuff. It's good.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.